Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, blurs of all ages, good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Once again, it is your frosty bearded Blerdicorn here. Hopefully, you guys are doing what I tell you to always do. Hopefully, you're washing these, covering this, staying as far away as you need to, because people is sick and nasty out here. Looking out for yourselves, your loved ones, and each other. I appreciate y'all so much. What's going on, fam? Yo, we got everybody up in here. We got Kyrie, we got Ghost, we got a Honey Cocoa Pop. Y'all, ladies, where y'all been? Where you been? Everybody up in here, what's going on, my nieces, nephews, and fam? Y'all, I am so happy to be here. First, Blerdicorn Convo of 2024. And you know what? The young man that I got with me, I actually met him a couple years back at BlerdCon. And let me tell you, his energy is amazing. Love what he does because I'm a wrestling fan. He's also a blerd, just like yours truly. So he is officially a Blerdicorn, even though he don't have the title in the shirt yet. I'm getting them printed. Don't worry about it. I'm getting them printed. So thank y'all for popping up in here. You know what? I got to bring my man up in here. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, blurs of all ages, I introduce to you Chris Slade. What's going on, fam?
Oh my God, how you doing?
Man, I am beyond excited to have you here. You have no idea how exciting this is to me. Thank you so much for
I'm excited to be here, man. I'm excited to be here. This is fun. I like
Yo,
stuff like this, so it's cool.
so, organic conversations, and they got my folks over here on IG. They're like, hi, hello, how you doing? So if y'all got questions
Okay.
for them, just throw them in here because Instagram is weird.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, no, it is. Twitter's weirder. Twitter's weirder, but yeah.
so if you guys cannot catch it here on Instagram, I am on my YouTube channel, Navy Montel. So that may be a little bit easier. There's a bit of a lag on Instagram, almost like 15 seconds. So
Oh,
it's yeah. So as soon as you start something, it just goes, okay, we're going to hit it now. And then it starts playing. I'm like, what the hell?
oh,
What
okay,
the
that's
hell
weird,
are you
but all
saying?
right.
So it's all good. So, my friends, please do me a favor. Tell everybody who you are.
All right. Well, I'm the picture perfect assassin, the sharpest blade, Chris Slade. Um, I've been wrestling about like 6 years now, I think. At this point, I used to do backyard though, heavily when I was early 20s, I think,
Are
early
you
20s. But like,
seriously?
yeah, no, like, but who didn't though? Like what wrestler didn't at this point in time?
That's true.
Um, but as I've been a wrestling fan a very, very long time, probably since I was a kid. But I've been a nerd probably just as long. I got my dad to think for that, honestly. Yeah, he sat me the same way he sat me down in front of Monday Night Raw with a bowl of oodles and noodles. Was the same way he sat me down to watch the VHSs of like Batman '89 and like watch Blade and yeah. And why is a 5-year-old watching Blade? Who knows? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I think I turned out okay.
That's where your education starts,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah,
That's where education starts.
yeah,
Yo, shout outs to your dad for that.
yep,
I'm
yep.
that is awesome. But
Mhm.
I am looking forward to this. So everybody, if you are here, please put questions in the comments. If you cannot pop in, you got to go elsewhere. It's Friday. I know, just got paid. Well, some of us just got paid. So I don't know. Me, I'm still, my wallet's still crying. That's all I got to say about that.
Hey man, I feel that it's tough out here.
Man, come on now. So everybody, I got two rules, and my rules have not changed. Be respectful and be yourself. Do not think for a second because I'm on this fancy platform that I will not kick you out of here if you're gonna be disrespectful to my guests, this platform, and even me. I have a slow fuse, but when it burns, trust me, it burns. There's nothing there that's gonna keep me from clocking you in the forehead. But everybody who's here on IG, thank you for showing the love. If it makes it easier, like I said, come on over to Instagram, come over to YouTube under Navy Montel. It's live right there. So I can see y'all throwing comments and stuff. I go, hey, they're throwing, there we are. Undateable. What's going on? See, first person popped up in here. See, we got people that pay attention. I'm
Right.
paying attention.
Right.
Just saying. So even though my combos are always organic, I
Yeah.
like the earnest and genuine conversation. There's always one question I have to ask.
Mhm.
I have to ask this because it makes it fun.
Okay.
What anime are you currently watching right now?
Ah.
Come on
Okay.
now.
All right. So I'm sure you noticed the Dragon Ball kanji on my chest.
Of
So
course.
that's gonna be my no matter what year it is, no matter what time of the year it is, I'm gonna be watching Dragon Ball. That's always gonna be a thing. I got Dragon Ball jammies, you know. Yeah. So
See, now
yeah,
you're just flexing. See that,
yeah.
I
So
appreciate that.
no, I'm not flexing yet. If I show you my closet, then I'm flexing. But
Oh wow.
yeah, nah, man. It's pretty extensive. It's pretty extensive. But
I'm not trying to go there with you, okay?
but no, man. I think yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen. As stereotypical as
Oof.
that sounds, it is Jujutsu Kaisen. I've even gotten people into it. Um, it's just the way this look, man. I'm a guy about throwing hands. I want to see people throw hands. I want to see people get messed up in the best way possible, you know, because it's
Oh,
fiction. And like I said, it's kind of comes from being a kid. Like, you know, Jujutsu Kaisen, it throws a lot of hands, you know, it throws a lot of things at you,
facts.
but it throws a lot of lore into it too, and you got to really pay attention. And they've
True.
done some things that are a little bit different from what you've seen, because you see sorcerers and that things like that, and that's cool, you know. But jujutsu sorcerers, you know what I mean? Like, what does that entail? What is that like? And I'm a huge Harry Potter buff, you know what I mean? So you got a school of kids in
Uh-huh.
Japan that are sorcerers, but to exorcise demons. I'm like, that's fucking dope. And then you have this guy with white hair that can see everything, that wears a blindfold over it because he's just so OP. You know what I mean?
I'm close. I got goggles. I got a white beard, so I'm almost there. I'm
There you go.
almost.
See? There you go. Like, I think it just shows the wisdom. It shows the wisdom. Yeah, man.
Oh my goodness, yo!
Yep.
The minute you mention Dragon Ball, I know, and I'll be the first one to say is Dragon Ball was one of those anime that was my beginning into it, but it
Yeah.
wasn't my
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
wasn't my first. My first
Mhm.
was Battle of the Planets, also known as Gotcha Man.
I've heard of that. I've heard of that. Yeah.
If you ever get a chance to see a super team of 5 kids who have bird suits who are just straight badasses, there is no comedy.
Oh
It's
yeah. I think I know what you're talking about. I've seen it in passing. I can't say I've watched it, but I definitely know. Like, you said bird suits, and I'm like, I think I know exactly what you're talking.
So even if you've never seen it,
Yeah.
you've caught glances of it somewhere. It's like
Yeah.
that's cool, but that's weird.
Mhm.
You look like a
Definitely.
Sentai team, but you're animated. I don't know how to feel about this.
It's kind of like Guyver to me, where it was an anime and then they made it into like a Sentai type, rated R Sentai type thing. And then I like the first one with Mark Hamill. I don't know if anybody knows this movie. Go see it. It's called The Guyver, based on a Japanese anime.
Oof.
Yeah, and it's man, it's so good. It
I
is so
love it.
good. The second one is underrated as all hell to me.
You
Because
think so?
I think so, because it goes a little bit more into the lore of it. I mean, you're not gonna pay for Mark Hamill twice. Um, and he died. Let's be real, in the first one. Spoilers. I don't know if anybody cares, but
Fair.
yeah, man. And and I'm gonna be honest with you, it got more to the Power Ranger roots, because when he just jumps off a cliff, and and the thing just spurts out of his neck, and it just boom, there you go. He's the Guyver now, and then lands superhero landing. It's like,
Wow.
oh yeah, I could get with this.
Wow.
And he didn't, in the first one, he didn't know his powers all that well. It was like, he lived with it for a bit. So I like the established characters.
I gotcha. Wow. You know what? You're one of the handful of people that have actually mentioned the Guyver. And that just shows that you have an understanding of what anime was back in the day.
Yeah, yeah,
Long form,
mhm,
the OVAs or the
yeah.
OAVs, depending on how old you are. The OAVs were the ones that I grew up on. OVAs. I have to keep saying because everyone says it's an
No,
unmanned
no, I
vehicle.
mix them up all the time myself, so don't feel bad.
So the first OVA that I actually watched that really caught my attention was Fist of the North Star.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
See, I think you get a kick out of that because I think you like them animes where they're catching hands.
Yeah, I do. And Fist of the North Star is one of those ones where I've at least checked out a YouTube episode or once just to see. Here's just where I land in terms of animation and just like anime. This is like, I like the concept of the character. I do. I don't know if you've ever heard of the game Jump Stars, right? But
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
cool. So that character's in there. Like I like to use them, right?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Watch the episode. Okay.
Uh-oh.
You know what bothers me though? And
It-
this is my age show.
oh wow, here we go.
Yeah, and in the reverse, I couldn't get with it for some reason. It was just too old to me.
Really?
It was too. It's the same reason why when I have the orange box sets of the Dragon Ball collection, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Ooh.
every single time, I never listen to the original Japanese audio. I listen to the original American audio that you would probably hear on like Toonami or something like that.
Okay. Okay.
And the it's something about Japanese audio, and it makes it a little bit more dramatic, but also a bit of a slog, if that makes sense for me. I like the bam 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 bam. Like it's people don't realize it, but like in medium, music is such a big thing, and they don't realize it.
That's
And
true.
and I feel the same way about a lot of anime like intros and stuff like that. Like depending on how quality your anime intro is, I might watch it. I might give you a shot. You know what I mean? Death
That's
Note is a prime example of that, where it's like it's a psychological one. No hands are being thrown at all, but
mm-hmm.
that first theme is fire. First theme is fire. So and we're talking about just scores, and I think Fist of the North Star, the score, the animation is just very old timey to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I did appreciate the character, and just as stoic the character was, I liked that. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
However, I think Fist of the North Star, in the best way I could say is, I would love to see like a Trigon style remake of Fist of the North Star. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
I would like to see something like that, or maybe a Baki style remake of animation. That way, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
How brutal that would be, and you know what I mean? Like
the
I don't know.
Baki style would definitely catch on because there was a lot more detail in the fights. There
Yeah,
was a lot more, not just psychology, but there was a lot more study of the human body and the physiology and what moves affected what particular parts of the
exactly.
body. And oh my gosh, Baki was just brutal, but you couldn't stop watching it.
Exactly. Actually, I will say, so Netflix, when Netflix acquired the rights to Baki,
Mm-hmm.
I was extraordinarily excited because I thought I was the only one that ever watched Baki, because no one talked about it. And like, I'm not talking about like, I knew nothing of Grappler Baki, right? Because for people that don't know, like Baki the Grappler and Grappler Baki,
two different
almost two separate things.
Yeah.
However, what they have like similarities, right? Like
Yeah.
if you watch the OVA of Grappler Baki, it's this kid with black hair, and he already has like the longish hair, and he's already in like a fighting ring, and but no one knows who he is. No one knows who he is.
It gave me the vibe of I want to say Tokyo Revengers, but a lot more brutal.
Yes, but the thing is, I felt like here's the thing about Tokyo Revengers. People don't like, all right, you know how they sit there and say, because that's what I haven't watched the second season at all. Me and the girls have to watch, or actually need to watch it, but we've been.
Rasheen agrees with you.
Yeah, like like all three of us have to like sit down and like watch the thing because we discovered that show. And me personally, I'm not like a huge like I like drama, don't get me wrong, but in anime it's hit and miss because sometimes it's a little bit too over the top for me.
Really, whatever do you mean?
Like it's
whatever
just
do
like,
you mean?
yeah, like if somebody's just like it's almost comical sometimes depending on the situation, like how they react. And I want to enjoy the story, so sometimes those reactions kind of like take away from it. Tokyo Revengers though runs this beautiful fine line for me where we were all thought we were that intense when we were kids, right? Teenagers or whatever, right? But like, yeah, we're gonna kill you, totally. Yeah, sure, right. We're totally gonna kill him. But
It's inevitable. It's
Exactly. But then you grow up and they're like, oh wow, they really killed him. What the fuck? That's wild. Why does she only have her torso left? That's crazy. Like, and I'm thinking to myself, like, all right, y'all really
Yeah.
keep going here. You got me now because it's intriguing. You got the time travel and element to it, so you got different ways of things going. Oh, love Tokyo Revengers. I definitely agree with you on that. Where it has Tokyo Revengers isms.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Mikey's like the freaking man.
Man, come on, Mikey is good grief.
Like
that boy is built way different. Okay.
Yeah. So like I ain't gonna lie to you. Like that was one of the cosplays I had in mind, but it was either that or Draken, right?
What? Either way, you killing it. So so where's the problem?
I don't be real with you because a lot of like people. Okay, so because of my haircut, it's probably the easiest thing to do Draken, right? But like,
nah.
But like at the same time, Mikey's the man. You know what I mean? Like Mikey's the man.
I you know what? And I will say this. First of all, I love your appreciation for old school anime because I think a lot of that is missing. We have people who, if someone were to ask me, what I would suggest, one of the first thing that comes to my head are always going to be the OVAs because series are great, but let's get you back to a foundation. I'm gonna recommend either Ninja Scroll, Vampire Hunter D, anything from Studio Ghibli, anything from Hayao Miyazaki, or
how did you feel about the new I know we're talking about old school, but you said Studio Ghibli. How did you feel about The Boy and the Heron?
Beautiful.
Yeah, I loved it too. I thought it was really good. And I thought Robert Pattinson deserves an Oscar for that voice acting work, but they always snub that. So it's cool though. It's cool.
But you know what? If they're smart, that will change. Oh, Geekster said MD Geist. Wow, I forgot about MD Geist. Yo, okay, see, that's a rabbit hole we're gonna go down. I'm gonna tell you
that's a huge rabbit hole. See, I'm gonna I would see probably the oldest one that I've watched. I mean, not including like Dragon Ball and like obviously older stuff like Gundams and stuff like that. I think
yeah, Gundam is a whole entity in itself.
Yeah, like you don't because you can't. It's like Ultraman, in Japan. It's like, oh, I'm watching Ultraman. Which one?
Just like Sentai.
Yeah,
which one?
Power Rangers? Shit, they all. Can I say something about the Power Rangers? I love the Power Rangers. I love Mighty Morphin. Still, maybe like Wild Force, where Tommy was there. Anytime Tommy's around, I'm watching it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta be honest though. Am I the only one that thinks all this like Power Rangers look the same now? Like they're
No, you're not.
You've made so many costumes at this point. It's at this point that the costumes are either not appealing or they just all look like the same one from the other time. And I'm like, I'm all for giving people like other like chances in Hollywood and stuff like that. I always wanted to be a Power Ranger myself, but I'm just saying, like,
no. You're right. And mind you, I didn't know anything about Sentai until Power Rangers came out. But you know what? I said, wait a second. As much tokusatsu that I've watched with Godzilla, Gamera, King Kong, all that, this looks Japanese made. So I made the decision to check out my history, and I said, they be biting because the first Power Rangers that came over here, the Zayu Rangers, that was team number 17. There were 16 other teams created.
We started like halfway through.
Yeah, and I was like, wait, bruh.
If you go to like, it's weird because if you go like, you go to Japan, you're like, who the fuck is Tommy? And it's like,
there is no Tommy here.
Yeah, like what? Excuse me.
We know of no Tommy.
Yeah, like here's the thing. Like matter of fact, that's the thing. I love Japanese culture, but I will say, they don't give a shit about any of those characters. Like they're like, man, none of them are like the household names like Billy, Tommy, Jason, Kimberly, Trini. You're able to just Zach. You're able to just like name them all like boom, like that, right? Japanese ones, they're gonna be like, yeah, we're like Red Range. I remember I met this. I met this. I swear to you, I met this Japanese woman. Out of all things, on a pumpkin patch with her kids, right?
Mhm.
And we got to talking about because she was from Japan and she had just moved and she's here and she was just we got talking about like I think anime or whatever the case may be. And I was like, yeah, I'm a huge nerd. She was like, oh, you guys consider that nerds down here? And I'm like, that's just regular television to us, right? And so I was like, and so funny enough, I was like, yeah, Power Rangers or whatever like that, right? It was
Mhm.
like, yeah, because I know I was like the toys or the shows who made us or something like that. The toys who
Mhm.
made us, yeah. So it was going over the history, and I was explaining to her like, yeah, like, oh yeah, like Tommy was this that other. She had no fucking clue who Tommy Oliver was. She was like, who's
Oh
Tommy?
no!
It was like because she had never seen our version, and so
All she knew was Sentai.
yeah, like she never seen our version, so it was like she knows of Power Rangers, but that's not what it's called. And I was like,
Mhm.
I'm aware of that, but at the same time, it was like the stories are drastically different too. Like it's Super Sentai is more like Kamen Rider than um than it is like you know what I mean.
Yes.
Like I want to say like Beetleborgs or something like that, or like VR Troopers. You know what I mean? You remember that? No one talks
Oh,
about
how can I
VR.
forget?
Like,
But
no one
see,
talks about VR Troopers, but like my dad got me like a VR Trooper, like big old like statue type action figure. It didn't move very much. It's not like things now. Like I made up for that in my adult years getting action figures, but I I swear it was great. But I never forgot those VR
oh,
Troopers, man.
and mind you, I definitely give credit to the American companies for introducing them, but I
Agreed.
think it was a disservice to not say, hey, go check it out over in Japan for real, because when VR Troopers came out, I was like, that's Japanese. So I said, oh, that's Kakaider and the Space Sheriffs. I said, oh,
Yeah,
and I checked
it's
them out.
like
And them, and y'all, if y'all know, and I know, Chris, you definitely know. In Japan,
mm,
team members die. There is
yeah,
no
yes.
resurrection. They die in the series. Japan is like, we kill you off. We
Okay,
no longer pay you.
I ain't gonna lie to you. Like I remember like I saw like a clip of like a Common Rider thing, and like I had a roommate that was like that was all he was into, right? Like that was his
Mm.
thing, that was his jam. Uh, and I know for a fact, like he even showed me, like he collected the belts and everything like that. He showed me a clip of one where the freaking thing. Now, mind you, these are good guys, mind you. One of them is a good guy, but you never could tell because they all look like kind of gnarly sometimes. So like one looks like a giant ant, but like not like Ant-Man ant, like where it's kind of cool. Like it's like no, you look jet like an ant. It's either you look
Right.
ridiculous or you look like you look like kind of like gnarly. So, but I remember whatever creature it was, he punched through the stomach and just started pulling out entrails like it was nothing. And I'm just like,
Yo, y'all,
yo, Japan,
y'all,
you gotta chill, bro. Like
y'all.
you gotta chill because again, like you would never see anything like that here. Like we have all this TVMA stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
We just had Echo, right? Which don't, but
We'll talk about that another day.
yeah, but
Everybody popping up in here. If you see us on IG, there's a bit of a delay. Got the man over here. You got Mr. Chris Slade just chatting
so,
with this young man, because we're gonna talk about it a little bit of his career, but we got we've gotten our own tangents, y'all. This is
oh
when
yeah,
you know
we sure did.
you're in the presence of a blerd that is passionate about certain things. The conversation is incredible. I don't care what anybody says.
No,
And
agreed. I definitely agree on that one.
especially the fun ones when you get in conversation with people that you don't know, but y'all all know about this. Yo,
Yeah.
come on. That's how you make friends. Like, wait.
Just generally how you do at cons. Honestly, I think that's generally one of the best ways to interact. Is just I think that's really what it is. Is everybody comes to like a centralized location and they know nothing of what each other's lives are like, but we all do, but we do kind of come together about the things we used to watch as kids or just watch currently,
Yep.
and things that we're fans of. And I think that's really cool. Like it gets you get, like you said, you make friends that way, and yeah, the world becomes a bit smaller, but in a good way, I think.
Agreed. I feel like more of a sense of community because
Mm.
we all get so caught up in our own lives,
Mm.
and we walk our own path, or we drive down the street.
Agreed.
And
Yeah.
I feel like the sense of togetherness
Mm.
and even meeting under a common umbrella,
Right.
it gets lost in, oh, we've got social media and I've got to get all these clicks and these likes and everything. Said, but the human aspect is missing. That's
Right.
why I love going to cons, because
Yeah.
at the conventions, and if y'all are on IG, come on over here to YouTube, because this conversation is going to be dope. That is when you see your people. BlerdCon, classic example.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna use that as an example because you've been to Blerd.
Yeah.
I've been to Blerd.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody who's coming in the conversation has been to Blerd. So at that moment, you walk in the door and you see people that look like you, sound like you, act like you. So what has been your experience as far as, it's like BlerdCon, for instance, the first time you went, what was your experience?
Ooh. My first BlerdCon experience was quite an eventful one. Okay. So I'm gonna all right, so I'm gonna let's see here. Okay. So my first BlerdCon experience was amazing. I met so many different people, and also I met a lot of people that I had known in like college and stuff like that, which was actually also amazing because I'm like, oh wow, you're into this? I didn't know that.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Or even high schoolers. Even this past year, mind you, my 10-year anniversary has been passed for high school, right? Everybody does their anniversary thing. Well, we never had it for whatever reason. I seen a bunch of high school friends from high school. You know what I mean? I'm like, wow, wait a minute, you're into this? Like you're into this? And some of them like I kind of knew, but I didn't know if they were into it enough to like cosplay, go to a convention and things like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like really cool. I was like, man, it's almost like a reunion here. So I think it's really cool to like reconnect also, as well as meeting new people at these things. But back to my first year, I met a lot of people. Got a hotel, inside the place. If anybody's gone to BlerdCon, if you're staying inside the con, just take the steps.
I knew you were gonna say that.
And go ahead, sneak past the, when the people are moving through the back, coming out that work there, just sneak up, go elevator, man. Because I'm be honest with you, waiting 15 minutes just to go up to your room to change for a cosplay, to go back and get into another cosplay, come down for another event that may be like 30, 45 minutes and then go back up. No, I'm not doing it anymore. I just said, no, I'm just going to run and I'm going to just be jacked by the time I'm done. Like by the end of the weekend, I'm going to tell you, I was cut up. I was like, I was sweating, but I was defined and I was lean. Okay. No, barely eating because, you're so excited to be around all your friends and everything like that.
Right.
You want to catch all the panels and things like that. And you're just dripping sweat or whatever the case may be. And that was kind of how my first experience was. Then we had a party. Apparently the party went viral with like people twerking on cakes. That was a thing. And a kiddie pool. So that was a thing.
Twerking. I love it.
Yeah, cake twerking. It was a thing. Now what wasn't fun is cleaning that up though to get the deposit back. But hey, it was cool. But it was one of those things that even though all that it was so much that happened, it would not trade it. I would always treasure memories of that because it was just fun, man. We had a lot of good times. The parties were great.
Yeah.
The people are great. The costumes. Oh my God, I got to tell you, like, and this is just. When you go to BlerdCon, I will say this, it's like you see so much more than I have it on other cons, but I see a lot of family.
Yes.
And I saw this one family the first time I ever went. And it had to have been like mom, dad, brother, sister, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that is not something you see. And they were the Avengers, you know, it was cool. Whatever. But it was just the fact that, like, because I would love for my dad to want to dress up like that, like, and go to a con, but like my dad's a little bit more reserved nowadays. So it's like,
How old is your dad?
yeah, like he wouldn't, huh?
How old is your father?
Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Because he has a birthday coming up. He has a
Here
birthday
it
coming up
comes.
this year, actually. I mean, he has a birthday coming up this month, actually. I believe it's January 20th. So I believe he will be 58, 59. If not,
Okay.
yeah.
So I turned 55 on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
So he has no excuse. If I need to talk to your father
Hey,
about making this
it's not
happen.
more so that he does not like enjoy it, but it's one of those things that I think he's gotten to the point in his life, especially like now, where he's like, I'm good. Like I think he's like, I'm just good. I'm good with watching it, you know, because me and him have this bond over, like, still have the bond over like The Walking Dead, for example. Um, uh,
Classic.
um, Superheroes, obviously, we'll talk about every superhero movie that comes out, you know, every time, whether we see it together, he sees it separate, he'll ask me about it. So those things. But when it comes to dressing up, but I will say though, he did dress up for a Halloween once recently, which was the
Okay.
most I've ever seen him. I think he did, shoot, I can't remember what he did, but I remember this one time
Thanks.
he definitely asked me to use my Batman mask, and I was like, oh, okay,
There's
sure.
hope.
Okay,
I,
there is hope somewhere. So yeah.
there's hope. I will be an advocate if necessary.
No,
You
I
know,
appreciate that.
as a cosplayer, you know, I started cosplaying what 2013. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't think I could get into it, and here I am about to turn 55, and I've
Same.
got, huh?
2013, I believe, was I went to the second ever Awesome Con, I believe.
Ooh, okay.
Um,
Well,
and I had just got a Sentai suit because Sentai suits weren't like a big thing back then. And
okay.
and I got me a Spider-Man suit from the Amazing Spider-Man, so like the first movie.
Oh yes.
And so, and I think this is what solidified it for me, especially. And
Hmm.
because if you look back on it now, it was not the greatest suit, but because for the time, not a lot of people had stuff like that. So it was like, oh, cool. Like, this is like a definitive Spider-Man suit. I'm sitting here walking around barefoot, like not having soles on the
The
suit.
struggle is real.
Yeah, like, because, you don't know how to modify these things, and there's not like a bunch of people on YouTube to tell you how to modify them and things like that.
Hmm.
So, but I remember it solidified it because I got in, and there was a kid, and I work with I'm a teacher for disabled kids, and
A real life hero, ladies and gentlemen. You have a real life hero right here. I said what I said. You better take these damn flowers. You better take them.
thank you, I appreciate it. But my sister's also has cerebral palsy, right? And so she has been a defining factor in my life for ever since she was born. We're about 7 years apart, and she's, from the word go, she's had a hard time physically.
Mm.
From overdose to heparin when she was born, to being born premature, 3 months. All of that, and here she is, like 23 years old, just amazing human being. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And there was a kid around her age. Well, wasn't around her age. She was a little bit older than them at the time. But when back in 2013, I had met this kid, and he was a little bit more like, even with the mental, he had some more challenges, but he had a
Mhm.
walker that was almost exactly something like Danielle had, even with the red handles. Uh, and he didn't see some guy in a suit. He just saw Spider-Man, right? He just saw Spider-Man. So he gave me a hug, and I'm just sitting here trying to see all the action figures and stuff like that, and people saying taking pictures and stuff. I'm like, all right, cool. But he just gave me this hug, and he was like, and I kid you the fuck not. He's like, you're the reason that I keep fighting and stuff like that. I don't know what his ailment was. I don't know what
Oh,
he had.
wow.
I don't. I just know he was on a walker, and I was literally trying not to tear up under my mask because it was one piece. So I can't just take it off. You
Wow.
know what I mean? So it's just like, oh. And after that, I think I was just like, yeah, man, like I don't, because I was even then going in, I was a little nervous. I was like, is anybody gonna be dressed up like me? Like, you know what I mean? And was it gonna
What
be
up?
weird? And it solidified, like, yeah, man, what weird, or whether people think this is weird or not, I don't give a fuck. Because
There you go.
yeah, because it's like,
There you go.
yeah, like why? Why do I give a shit? And it makes people legitimately happy. And the fact that I could see someone's face just light up, you know what I mean? Not know me for Adam and Eve, but the kid was me when I met Spider-Man in like Universal Studios or something like that. I lost my
Come
fucking
on.
mind.
Come on, man.
So it kind of went full circle for me. And so anytime like I do like a birthday party for like as Spider-Man when people don't realize I'm like doing it or whatever, or I do cosplay pro wrestling as Miles Morales or something like that.
Now
That's
you know
always
I'm gonna
kind of
ask about
special.
that. You know
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask about that. Don't think you're gonna get away from this. You know I'm gonna
Oh
ask
yeah,
about
please, please.
that.
Yeah. What regardless of it though, it's something that um I'm super passionate about wrestling and it's always going to be my passion. But superheroes and like the nerdisms and things like that are
Mhm.
equally a part of me as that part is as well, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. And honestly, you hit one of the nails on the head that a lot of people get away from. You see the pageantry. You want to make
Yeah,
your cosplay look good, and you want to have the best representation. But they don't realize that someone comes to these cons for the first time and they see a character or a
right,
superhero or
right.
even and at that moment you have made their day by letting them see
Yeah,
you and be seen. And
right.
that's where a lot of our community has gotten away from. Everybody's
Yeah,
so focused on being seen, you're not seeing other people.
right, right.
And that's what makes it so beautiful. And
Mm,
my journey to get to this point, I got to where I am because of all the people that I've connected with and,
right, yeah.
including yourself. And I know the people that you've connected with on your journey
Yeah.
has been, I know it's been more than meaningful.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think when I go to cons and things like that, it's definitely more of like a vacation for me. It's a relaxation because, I work, Monday through Friday as anybody else does, right? And
Yeah.
then I and then I have to get up, pack up, and then travel to whatever show, either Saturday, Sunday, or sometimes both, or Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, like that's coming up in February. So it's like,
Goodness sakes.
yeah. So it's like when you get to like, I'm in the Valley Decision currently right now, like on Katsucon, right?
Mhm.
Because it's like, I know most of the people in my household aren't going, and that just kind of leaves me. But at the same time, I'm like, do I have the time to do this legitimately? Because right now,
Mm.
'cause one of the things right now is like, I got to defend this thing right here, right? And
I was gonna say congratulations because I saw that. I was like, yo, okay.
well, thank you. And but like that, with that, it comes responsibility, and you know,
Like
um,
Spider-Man.
absolutely, exactly. Um, and I'll say this: it's people sit there and say like, oh well, it's wrestling. You make your own schedule, and it's gonna be there. And I respectfully say, um, The Rock didn't take breaks. You know what I mean? John Cena didn't take
Mhm,
breaks. You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
Will Ospreay is always doing moving.
Man, that
You
dude.
know, it's just if I want to be talked about on their level in their caliber, I got to keep doing what I'm doing. And if I got to miss a couple of cons, that it's gonna suck, but hopefully I can make up for it. But I do whenever I am at a con like Blerdicorn or something like that, it means the fucking world to me because I like finally I can sit down and like be with my other people. You get what I mean? You know what I mean? Like Jesus.
I feel that.
You'd
Now
be
you
surprised how many wrestlers are actually nerds. Like, and they'll be
oh,
like,
yeah. Oh,
yeah,
I know.
and they'll sit there and say, man, I seen you going to con. I was like, yeah, man. It was like, man, I wish I could go. I'm like, dude, you should come out. Like, it's dope. It's dope.
It's phenomenal. And you are a handful of wrestlers that not only did I get a chance to meet, but to find out that y'all are solid blerds.
Mm.
And it's always funny because I've been a
Right.
wrestling nut since I was 9.
Mm.
Back when they had the territories, you had
Yeah.
all around the country. That's how you proved yourself. If y'all know anything about pro wrestling, the way it was back in, you had territories. That's how each wrestler plied their trade,
Yep.
perfected their craft, and became stars.
Yep.
Some started from the East Coast up there in the over in New York and worked their way down south and went to the Pacific Northwest. Some did the opposite thing.
It's a lot like that, and it's not like that now though. It's like it's so different. I mean, they're trying to do the territory things again. I think MWA had said something, but I don't really know how. Like, I
It's
I don't know how that's gonna go. But in
I
terms
don't
of just the feeling of the spirit of it's there. I would say.
yeah.
I'd
I
say.
don't I don't honestly I would love to see it. I would love to because folks like you
Yep.
would thrive. Oh my gosh, because I could see you back in the day in world class championship or going down to mid south. You you be that star that will be on forever. I could just see you right up there, just teaming with the greats.
I'm I'm working on it now. It's funny because I because of my style of wrestling and the way that I like to present myself, I often think about like what put Chris Slade in back in the 80s. What would that look like? You get what I mean? Put
Mm-hmm.
Chris Slade in the 70s. What would that look like? Would I be somebody that's just known to be like just a really small guy that can flip around and just get jobbed out, or would I be like respected for what I do, like it is in this day and age? You know what I mean? It really depends because there's a really interesting question that's asked in the wrestling business sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It is and it's about like current like WWE superstars. How would they fare in the Attitude Era? You get what I mean? Like would
Yeah.
they be as popular back then where as like are they are now, like Ricochet for example. Like Ricochet's not like a he's like a mid-card guy. That's what you would slot him as. That's what they have him as in, right?
Right.
But you take him and put him in like the Attitude Era, how would how would he fare? And the reason why people make that comparison because it's like back then you had to be more than just good at what what you do. You had to be good on the mic. You had to be able to sell t-shirts. You had
Yep.
to also be able to work in the ring. You know what I mean? Like it was just, you had
Yep.
to be like more of the total package. And a lot of times, like, let's be honest, not everybody in the Attitude Era could work all that well.
Yep.
It wasn't like that. But it was just one of those things where it was like, look, they're entertaining.
Yeah. Arcade said the same thing. Size was pushed so heavily over actual performance back then.
Yeah.
You do have
Yeah.
to wonder.
100%.
Yeah. Big meat slapping meat. That's pretty much what it was.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's the thing though, and it's not like that has gone away. It's not like big meaty men slapping meat ain't a thing. Like that's still a thing. And I have so many friends and
What
that
up,
I
man?
respect and admire that are huge. You get what I mean? And are able to do these big man things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But those guys can work. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I just don't know.
It
But
is.
I don't know. It's just big. Size ain't everything. Size ain't everything. And I think,
That is very true.
yeah,
If you go back and back then when it was World Championship Wrestling, they would be
yeah,
on for what 2 and 3 hours at a time, and you see guys of all shapes and sizes. And it seemed like if you didn't have a gimmick
hmm
or a shtick,
hmm
you were a jobber. It was an automatic thing.
yep.
This is Bob Smith. Okay, Bob Smith's about to get his ass beat. Okay, because it's Bob Smith.
Remember,
But
I have a question for you. Do you remember when X-Pac was the 1-2-3 kid?
yeah, when he
Okay,
beat Razor Ramon,
exactly. Now, here's a question about X-Pac. Out of everybody in DX, who was probably at this current moment, right? Do you remember the least?
oh wow. Well,
And I mean full faction. Full faction, honestly.
As a wrestling fan,
who do you remember the least? Like, who would be the last person you would think of?
it would be X-Pac, unfortunately.
But here's the wild thing about it. X-Pac was HBK levels of talented.
Yes. Oh, you preach to the choir.
And that is my issue. Because guess what? And this is just it. This was even when Sean was left. You know what I mean? He never reached that part. And when he became a little bit cooler from 1, 2, 3 Kid to X-Pac, here's what the big difference was. He had a character. X-Pac was just cool now. That was just his thing. He was cool. You know what I mean? Not much of a gimmick, but it worked. It worked.
And it brought people in. It drew you in because you're like, what's he going to do next? What's he going to say next? Yeah, I forgot he was a Lightning Kid in AWA. I almost forgot about that too. Good grief.
Super talented. And honestly, if you see him now, me personally, I think he kind of has comparing him to Sean, I think he has one of those things where he can just, if you asked him to do something, I feel like he could still pull it off.
Oh, facts.
I feel like he still could. I'm like, everybody gets butthurt about Sean coming back for like the Undertaker and Kane thing. Guess what? He was the best part about the match. So I wouldn't be upset. I'm not upset. And Triple H is my favorite wrestler of all time. I am not ashamed to say that HBK was the best part of that match.
I did not like the whole phrase Attitude Era. For me, it was genuinely an evolution because you saw each of these stars.
I know that wasn't a pun, but I'm gonna let you have that one.
I knew you were gonna let me go there. Thank you for holding me accountable, sir. I appreciate you for that. Hey, y'all, if y'all over here on IG, come on over to YouTube because I'm telling you, Instagram is has a bit of a delay, so I see you, but
Instagram doesn't like us right at the moment.
It doesn't, but come on over here to YouTube. We're doing it live. We got the folks up in here. We got my man Chris Slade. This, y'all, let me tell you something about this cat right here. This dude, I've seen videos of you performing. And I can honestly say this. You have an it factor about you.
Thank you.
You have an it factor. You have the charisma. When your presence in the ring, how you move, everything. And I'll be the first one to say, if you can move and talk, you've made me a fan.
Right.
Because how many wrestlers have we seen that can move in the ring but can't talk for shit? How many wrestlers have we seen that can talk but can't move? Oh gosh, I'm getting a migraine just thinking about it. I'm sorry. I'm not a Brock Lesnar fan. Sorry.
Really, you're not?
I'm not, only because when he was being pushed by Vince McMahon, they made him this unstoppable juggernaut who ended up fucking up different opportunities. Like when they put him in the ring to squash Kofi. Seriously? That still hurts. It's like anytime anybody with a belt that's of color, that was Vince's thing. Let's throw Brock in there. Let's get slapping meat and just take him out. It's like when he got in on the Money in the Bank match.
Okay, so I agree with the Kofi thing, and I agree with it just on the sheer fact of he could have. You've had Kofi go through hell for 6 months defending that championship and longer than anybody thought he was going to have that. Let's be real. Let's be absolutely honest. Any black person that said he was going to keep that for 6 months, they were lying to you. They did not think he was going to keep it for 6 months. 3 at best. He got 3 extra months. So first of all, let's be real here.
He got 3 extra months.
He got 3 extra months, bro.
Wow.
I've won a championship, and I'm like, bro, can I get like an extra week, bro? Like the dream's like, yeah, but it's like that sometimes. Like, here's the thing. I think he should have been given more. Right? I think he should have been given more. But then here's the thing. You would have to book him like that from now on. here's the thing: they weren't going to do that. They weren't going to do that.
Yeah,
Vince wasn't going to do that. I'm going to tell you. Here's the thing. You
mean
know
the
the most
legendary 3-week
interesting thing,
pushes? Oh,
huh?
you mean the legendary 3-week pushes? You know,
Right? But you want to know what's funny though? We talk
Mm.
about Kofi right now, and this is just kind of, and I don't think this is indicative of that particular moment, but this is speaking indicatively of how they have him slotted in. No matter what title he had, this is how they had him slotted. He's a really good competitor, and he's shown that for years. So logically, he deserves at least a token win. However, you're not better than Roman Reigns. You're not better than Brock Lesnar. You can maybe squeak out Daniel Bryan, but that was his credibility win. They always get a credibility win after they win, or not. If you're Kane, no, you just lose it right back to Stone Cold. Right?
Yeah,
but I
thought his credibility win was when he beat Randy Orton finally, because that was a hell of a feud.
Oh, when Kane? See,
no,
when you're talking about no. Here's are you talking which one? Which time? Are you talking about when he won the championship, right?
I believe so. Yeah. No.
Or are you talking about when he lost his push to Randy? Because there was 2 times that they had
I think it was the first one, because that's when you start seeing them let just him fire up and get away from.
Perfect timing. Okay, perfect. Yes. And then that was the exact situation that cut it entirely. That's the problem. And it's been on record. It's like, yeah, like it was on record. Like after he messed up, it was a botch, something like that. Pissed off Randy. He got his career got kind of derailed for years, right?
Right.
Now you look at Kofi now. What's the most interesting thing he's done since?
Not a lot, unfortunately.
Can I be honest with you? The most interesting thing he's done is Monday night when he got beat up.
Oh, when he injured Da Vinci.
He injured Vinci, and then Kaiser came back and whooped his ass.
He handed him his ass.
And not so much like here was the thing. Kofi didn't go out like a bitch though. Like he was like, no, we're gonna fight. If you want to scrap, we can scrap. It was an accident, but like we can scrap. That was realistic. That made sense. True. This man has been pulling on his dreads, been pulling on his chin hair. He yanking him all over the place like he's a child. All right, yeah, we disqualification, but you ain't about to treat me like that. Like I'm a former WWE champion. But see, here's the thing. What was more, that did more for Kaiser than it did Kofi.
Yeah, true.
Now, if you want to, you could easily spin it as like, oh yeah, like Kofi will come back with a new mindset and he's gonna be angry and he's gonna be more serious and stuff like that. They're not gonna do that though. Your boy comes out in basketball shoes and shorts now. I mean, they look like Gucci shorts, but I mean, hey, at least, I mean, I'm gonna be real with you. It don't look like he take it seriously. It doesn't look like they are taking him seriously. And so when anybody mentions the Brock Lesnar thing, I'm like, well, are we surprised by this?
No, unfortunately.
Because the writing was on the wall from the get-go. Let's look at Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio won that heavyweight championship, and then what happened? What happened? If no one remembers what happened, I do. I have the Rey Mysterio box set. He autographed it for me. I swear to God. They did. Look, they gave him a survival win against JBL.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
Which was the most boring feud. And you've seen JBL do some bangers with Hispanic people.
Oh, like, come on. Eddie? Him and Eddie? Yeah, him and Eddie.
Kicking people over the border. You get canceled for that now. You kidding me? Things were great. Things were great. But no, now, you know, it was just like this thing because he's just so much bigger than Ray. And it was just like, I think WWE, it's indicative of us, like, of smaller guys. I think in WWE, I think they've always, Vince at least, had a hard time booking smaller guys to be successful. Like, he could build them to get them to that crescendo moment that's going to be forever replayed by that guy and people in the clip shows and stuff like that. They're great at that. But the follow-up is not what they're so good at.
I will tell you, Vince was always that type who believed that the big guys should have top billing.
Yeah,
always.
yeah, 100%. But that's honestly, that's not just him. That's a lot of people still feel that way.
Really?
Yes. You would not believe how many people believe that the bigger guys, just because of size alone, is probably, they should be booked a little bit stronger. And I agree, booking someone strong, sure, but that doesn't necessarily mean they have to be in the main event every single time.
Which leads me into a question about you since your career.
Yeah.
6 years, very impressive. Very, very impressive. Do you feel that that's happening in the independents as well?
I mean,
in your experiences, have you seen that where it's been more preferential booking for specific stars, maybe?
I think that's the nature of what we do, is preferential booking. I think if you have built a certain name for yourself, then yeah, you're gonna get top billing, right? However, when I first got in, absolutely. I would say when I first got in, you saw a lot of the big guys at the top of the card, and it wasn't because they were good, right? But you can say the same thing about smaller guys too, because I've been in the ring with guys that are, if you could believe it, smaller than me, right? Or my size, and it's maybe because they've been there for a long time. Maybe they've been paying their dues, and everybody deserves like a recognition. I believe in wrestling, I think, for their hard work, because if anybody tells you it's an easy thing to do, what we do, they fucking lying to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anybody sits there and says like, oh, it's really ain't nothing. You just go in there and go in the ring and you fight and you leave, and it's not. It's so much more to it. You gotta, you think about your travel. You think about, how you're gonna go into this if you have nagging injuries and things like that. So I think anybody that consistently sticks with it deserves, recognition. However, I don't necessarily believe that if you're trying to make money with a company, and I'm just a lowly wrestler. I have no dreams of owning my own business or anything like that. I'm a cog in the machine in that way. But as someone that puts his absolute all into this every time he goes out there and is looking to be one of the best, if not called absolutely 100% the best wrestler in the world, not black, Hispanic, white, doesn't matter. No, Chris Slade's the best wrestler in the world. That's what I want to hear before I die, right? I can't, but like, that's what I want to do. That's something that I am passionate about, right? But not everybody's like that, and some people just are looking at it as like, I just want to do this for fun, and that's cool. That's absolutely cool. But sometimes when you have people like that in major roles in your company, and you wonder why people aren't giving a shit about your main event, well, that's why. Because a lot of people will sit there and say, oh, this wrestling's fake, this and the other. I'm like, okay, first of all, no one's ever watched me in the ring and sat there and told me that looked fake as hell. Because and then it's just like,
there's always gonna be one or two. They're just pessimistic no matter what. They don't know the work that goes into what you do.
And that's true. It's true. But here's and that's just it. Like, if and that's just the weird part about it, I think, with the disconnect with some fans, and it's not many, because honestly, you'd be surprised how you hear a lot of things about wrestling fans. They can be like really bad, but if you at any indie show, um, any show that I've ever been a part of,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of like how many people are there, one thing I can always and I always respect and I love about the indies is that the people have such a respect for it. Because they acknowledge that you're not WWE, but they do acknowledge that you could be there one day. They
Mm-hmm.
do acknowledge that, hey, look, this isn't WWE, but this is wrestling right here in front of me, and this could just be as good. But they don't know that. They wouldn't know that unless they didn't step in the building, right?
True.
And
Very true.
for me, they have so much more of a respect for it. So no one, I don't think anybody's ever really going to sit there and say, come in and watch it and say, that shit. You know what I mean? Some people have.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I've definitely spoken to some people, but like overall, there's a respect there. But out on the outside, my goal is to bring people that have never seen wrestling before and be like, holy shit, that was cool. When people come up and say, hey, I've never been to a show. Oh, please. How'd you think? How'd you think it did? Oh,
Thanks.
I loved it. Cool. Great.
Thank you, nephews. Appreciate y'all for coming through. Anime Nightclub. Dope young men right there.
But yeah, man, that's just kind of the way I look at it in this way, and stuff like that. And I think now with everybody, like to your original question,
Mm-hmm.
I think nowadays people look at more of the talent. I think people look at AEW. I think people look at NXT, and they see these smaller guys that aren't necessarily like behemoths, but it's realistic. And I think people are looking at these people a little bit more realistic and looking and like can relate a little bit to more to these people. You know what I mean? I think guys like Darby Allin, for example, as say what you want about his wrestling style and what he's willing to put himself through for the fans. Ultimately, though, he has a connection with those fans.
True.
And those fans hang on every single thing that he does. And that dude's like, what, 150?
Yeah, if that, what 140? No, he was 152 at last.
Okay, cool. So me and him are literally physically the same weight. Okay. We're not the biggest guys in the world, but people love what we do. Now, people love more what he does on a bigger scale, but I hope to get to that one day. But at the end of the day, that's a prime example of how people are wired and just make you think like, okay, cool. Why is Darby Allin so over, but Powerhouse Hobbs isn't? It's like.
Well, to be fair, I think Darby's traveled more than Hobbs has. Because I've seen
and again, I think that's a problem because Powerhouse Hobbs is too talented not to.
That's true. Oh, it's very true. I mean, I like his style. I like how he carries himself, and I see him going far if he's booked properly.
Agreed. It's a lot of. I'm gonna be real. Like, it's a lot of black wrestlers right now. I'm like, why? Like, come on, pull the trigger on him. I mean, have we ever had a black IWGP champion?
Nope.
World heavyweight champion ever?
Nope. Never.
Maybe we should.
Oh, I agree. Because they've either been white or Japanese.
Yeah, white or Japanese. I believe, what's the word for outsider in Japan? I forget. But gaijin?
Yeah, gaijin. Yeah, gaijin. I was thinking it was something else.
Yeah. Yeah, that honest to God truth, that's a dream of mine. I would love to be the first ever black IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. But like, it's one of those things where it's like, just it's either a white guy or, like you said, or Asian guy.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like the size thing, right? Where it's like always at the top of the card. Well,
Okay, that's great, wonderful. But
people
are getting tired of seeing the same old, same old. I mean, I will never step in the ring That is a fact. Unless I am trained as a referee, which I have thought of, but as a pro wrestler, nah. Manager, maybe. I can take a few bumps. I can cry like a little girl. I'm trying. I'd be like Jim Cornette. I can do that from time to time. But
Oh,
I respect everything that y'all do, no matter what level.
Mm.
And I'm giving you. I'm saying this because when I met you,
Mm.
loved your vibe, loved your energy. Just honestly, a genuine, fantastic dude. And I don't ever want you to lose that. As a performer, you've got a fan in me and a few other folks who have seen you perform. Because
thank you. I honestly do my best. I do.
yo,
I
Beth,
really do.
y'all, no, he ain't gonna sit here and no, you ain't gonna pull this humble BS on me. That man's had that 5-star championship over that chair, over the back of that chair all night. He is the inaugural 5-star champion. That gorgeous ass. But do you think we ain't gonna do this? We ain't doing this. As I swear on my Attitude Era socks, I got hanging up. Yeah, I don't wear them. They're fantastic. They just look good and everything.
Gotta have the poopy socks.
So we did have a question over here on the IG side.
Yes.
The Royal Mojo wanted to know, do you have a favorite cosplay?
Yes. Yes, I do. Oof. Okay, so all right, so my favorite cosplay currently is probably my Anakin Skywalker cosplay.
Oh, dope.
I think it's either that or like the Deadpool 3. You know the new Deadpool 3 movie coming out, right?
Yes.
So I got the Wolverine suit, the blue, classic blue and yellow. I actually just tried that on again today because I have to do a photo shoot with Konako Assassin, Francis Bennett.
Fell in love
And
all over again, didn't you?
yeah, so I think it's one of those things where I'm like, I think that's one of I just love the way it looks on me. Because I recently did like another Wolverine suit with a different suit, which I also love how that came out. So
Okay.
I think in between those two, because they are characters that I've always wanted to do at like from a kid to now, like I've always had like
Gotcha.
like I like this thing for Wolverine and Anakin Skywalker as look, I get it. Prequels. People didn't like them. Hey, guess what? I grew up with them. I'm sorry. I apologize. Sorry. You know what? Fuck you. I'm not sorry.
I was gonna say,
That's what
don't you apologize?
yeah.
What are you apologizing for, man?
No, because I know how Star Wars community can be, and I'm just like, yeah.
That's the toxic Star Wars community.
Yeah. And because like here's the thing, let's be absolutely honest with I was a kid. I was born in 1993, so I don't. Did you ever catch? But I didn't always have cable, so like I caught Fox 5 when they would bring up like the anniversary specials of Star Wars, and they would show them
Yeah,
like once a night, like A New Hope, then Empire Strikes Back, then Return of the Jedi. Cool. I watched those first, and then when they was like Episode 1, as a kid, I'm like, so where's Darth Vader? And I don't, because I thought it was a reboot because it said Episode 1. So I'm like, I don't understand. You get what I mean? And then it wasn't until like I got a bit older and then I saw a Clone Wars, I was like, oh,
that makes sense.
I get it now. And then by 3, oh dude, I was just so into Star Wars at that point. I had Revenge of the Sith video game on the PS2. I had the lightsabers. Like I had the first ever like the ones that shot out, which you just hit the button.
Oh
and
yeah.
When those first came out, those were
Show
fucking
off.
insane. Then I got me like a Darth Vader helmet. I was just all in it because Revenge of the Sith, if nothing else, was the peak of the prequel series. But at the end of the day, like, let's be honest, no one was touching Anakin Skywalker in lightsaber combat or Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Nope.
You want to sit there and tell me that A New Hope, Obi-Wan, and Darth Vader was cinematic? You want to say that? I want anybody.
I'm not trying to get beat up
in that era.
It's my show, but I ain't trying to get beat up.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I want anybody that I want even there in Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you're listening. I want you to honestly tell me that those fights were legit in the original series. And if you can sit there and tell me that, then we got a deeper problem. Because
Oh,
denial is a real big problem. And it's just
mm.
not a no.
I'm
So
I'm not gonna be the one to do it because I was one of the lucky ones who actually saw the original in the theater in '77. So
and so
that was
question.
everything.
And because now you saw the original, so you've even seen the things that I haven't seen
Mhm.
in terms of the original edits. Therefore, no, like, and I think originally wasn't the lightsabers just white,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
yeah.
and that's just it's such an interesting thing, right? Because Star Wars then and Star Wars now,
It's a jump. It's a for real jump. And the color
like,
coordination didn't start until people started getting deeper into the lore. I was like, well, yeah, the sabers were all white.
and you want to see, and another thing, the I believe, and this is another thing that the prequels did. The prequels, even though I mean, I can understand what the whole metachlorian thing people um don't like, but I do definitely think that the Clone Wars and that whole entire saga
Mhm.
really gave this huge um landscape of just storytelling that you could just that's almost infinite, you know what I mean? And because there's a lot of time in between like episode 1 and then Revenge of the Sith and then until New Hope. You get what I mean?
Yes,
There's
it
so
was.
much, and that I think that the prequels really ushered in a way to kind of be like, yo, we could do some interesting things with this and not destroy canon. And
And I
so
think
that's why I have such a reverence for it in my heart. Like I love it so much, is because I'm like, look, I acknowledge like the dialogue wasn't always that good. Let's be real.
yeah,
Right.
that's
I
true.
mean, but neither was the dialogue in all the Harry Potter movies. Sometimes it was kind of shitty. But I mean,
That's true. And someone who's also a Whovian, sometimes you'll find a Doctor Who series, you just look and go, that what? But then you find that doctor that just, yo,
yeah,
Unkudi Gatwa, the 15th Doctor. That's my motherfucker, y'all. That's my motherfucker right there. Him and Matt Smith are the two cats I never get tired of watching.
I like Matt Smith. The new Doctor, however, I okay, so I've never watched a single episode of Doctor Who in my life. However, I have kept up um with like what goes on in Doctor Who and
Mhm.
Death Battle. I don't know if you watch it on YouTube. Death Battle. He had to fight Rick from Rick and Morty.
I
And
remember hearing about it, but I
yeah,
never saw it.
I learned so much about Doctor Who in that moment that I felt like, okay, I feel like if I started watching, I completely understand what's going on, right? And I think that's why I watch Death Battle so much, because even with the characters that I don't know, I'm like, that's why I watch, because I'm like, I just want to know what you're about, right? I've seen you around. It's like what is it? It's like like that person you've been seeing around who's like, kind of interesting,
Yeah.
try to get their attention. But like, yeah, man, it's I like Doctor. I like it. I like the concept. I just never have gotten into it myself.
I would recommend, if you did, I would start with the Ninth Doctor, which was Christopher Eccleston, because
Okay.
his was the perfect intro into David Tennant, who
Ooh, David said. Now I know him as Doctor Who as well.
his run brilliance and how it
Mm.
switched over to Matt Smith. I loved it. I started with Matt, but then I went backwards and I said,
Right.
"Oh, David Tennant fucking rocks." But they have the specials, the new ones, on Disney Plus.
Right.
So you actually see David Tennant, who is, they call him a Dr. 14.5, as he transitions into
The black
Nkudi
guy.
Gatwa. Yeah, brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
So my
I'm falling in love
question
with him too.
is here,
Hmm.
and this is just literally because, oh, he looks like me, kind of thing. It was like, all right, so are we going to see a lot of black Doctor Who's now?
Well, we've already seen two.
I'm talking about cosplay wise, like a Blerdicorn this
Oh,
year.
facts. Absolutely.
Like I'm because I saw the whole thing where he was like dancing in like the skirt thing. I
You
don't I
mean
don't
in the, you mean the
I don't
kilt?
know the context of it at all.
He was just there. He
He
was
was just
actually there to observe, but he was in the crowd, so he wouldn't seem so obvious.
okay. If someone doesn't do that at the next BlerdCon party, I'm gonna be upset because I feel like that's made for that type of thing.
So why don't you do it?
I'm gonna be honest with you. If you know what, I gotta find me like a rainbow skirt.
Man, finding you a kilt is not going to be a problem, sir. Finding you
A
a kilt
rainbow because it seemed like it was a rainbow one. That's from what I saw on TikTok. Is that it?
in this day and age, you can get anything made by anybody.
Yeah, Etsy is a thing. Etsy is
Thank
a
you.
thing.
You beat me to it.
Yeah, that's true.
You
No,
beat me to it.
yeah, no, because Francis would probably say the same thing. She was like, "Well, there is Etsy," and I'm just like, "Fine." Uh, Here's the thing: I have this problem with waiting, and this is for like cosplays and things like that. Like, I get so excited to get a new cosplay, right? That waiting in the mail for it, especially if it like takes some time, is a pain in my ass. Like
I appreciate the honesty.
yeah, like I'm gonna be honest with you, like it just it makes my ass itch. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like it's one of those things where I'm just like, dude, like can you just get it to me tomorrow? Like why?
Yo,
Like
this
you should
man
have a
got hemorrhoids from time.
dude. Yeah, man. It's not it's because like all right. So think about it, right? You're getting this. Like for example, I'm trying to do Invincible, right? I'm trying to get an Invincible cosplay together, right? But I also know I have to do cosplay pro wrestling in like March, right? Coming up at the end of March, and I have to do Miles Morales again. Well, the thing about cosplay pro wrestling is your suits do get messed up because you are getting thrown around and you're doing superhero stuff in the actual superhero suit, and they're not necessarily always made to do the superhero stuff in. So, um, sometimes you just need the suit right then and there because, you know, hey, it's spandex, it's gonna rip. You're gonna be, you know, you're gonna just like you should have replacements on hand and should be able to just send it to me just like that. And when you're not able to, it's just frustrating. It's really just frustrating.
That's fair.
Yeah, so it's I don't know, man. I'm an extremely impatient person. I'll admit it. I'm
Well,
extremely
thank you
impatient.
for admitting that to everybody. Now we know that. Yeah, Chris is impatient. Really?
Yeah,
Where'd you
like
find this?
I'm patient for other people. I'm not patient for myself. Like I have very low tolerance for myself as a person. Like I'm ready. Like if I have a goal in mind or something like that, I'm like, why am I not doing this right now? Like let's get it going. Or it's kind of like how like I am in wrestling is like, okay, like on a show day, I am like I will get my rental car, right? Get whatever like snacks or whatever I need. You know, I try not to eat too much or whatever, and then go down the road. But in that time, what's going through my mind is just like, what I'm gonna do. What's the first thing I'm gonna do when I get there? Who am I wrestling? What like what's the crowd gonna be like? All these things, and I'm just not focused on anything else for that entire day except that.
That's fair.
And as soon as that bell rings, and then as soon as that bell rings again, then I'm regular me. And it's weird though because you can't just.
Well, you're focused, and
Yeah,
that's understandable.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of the same way with like when I'm like with a cosplay or something that I'm really passionate about or something that I'm really got all my focus in at the time is that can I just get it now, please? Can we, you know, so I can do what I need to do with it, if that makes sense.
Fair. No,
yeah.
that makes a lot of sense. I completely understand because I figured the mindset of preparing for a show, performing up until the second bell rings, I wouldn't say it's a very sacred time because you've got a lot to think about. You got a lot of decisions to make. You also have to figure out, okay, what series of events are going to occur until the second bell. And then once the bell rings and there's a 1, 2, 3, or if it's disqualification, count out, whatever it is.
Right.
And then you can, like you said, you go right back to being yourself. So I imagine doing this a lot with different companies often. Hey, I don't begrudge you at all, my man. If anything, I admire that. So bravo.
Appreciate it.
Bravo. Chris, I tell you, this has been one of the most enjoyable combos I've had. And I've been doing this for about
Hey, man, I'm having a really good time.
You've been here for about 3 years. But I'm going to tell you this. I would love to bring you back on and bring you on with some other folks so we could chop it up about wrestling if you ever have the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
We gotta make this happen. So do me a favor. Please tell everybody where they can find you so they can show you that love that you so rightly deserve.
All right. So you can find me on Instagram at Chris_Slade25. You can also find me on Twitter under the same name, and Facebook as Dorian Womble. That's my real name. But you can also type in Chris Slade and you'll also find me. Got the mask on. And you can also find me on Twitter under my my shoot name, Dorian Womble, as well. Nice. I don't know how to change TikTok handles and Facebook handles. I don't know, man. I don't know if you know how to do that. Send some pointers my way because I'm not really good at social media like that.
I will definitely do that because when I had to change everything to Nathan Montel, it didn't take a lot of effort. It just took a lot of time.
Yeah, I was looking in settings at one day, and I was just like, the only thing I could change was my nickname. And I was just like, I never chose a nickname in Facebook, so I was just like, okay, I guess Chris Slade will have to do if I can't change my name.
This is not gonna work.
Like, all right, well, nickname's Chris Slade then, fine. So, whatever.
Well, I tell you, Chris, thank you so much for your time. This has been enjoyable. I appreciate you. My first combo of 2024 with you has been an honor, my friend.
Same here, man. Thank you for having me.
Everybody, got another combo coming up in a couple of weeks. Look out for everything. I appreciate y'all coming to support blurs like this young man who's out here doing the damn thing. If you can see another blerd, you can meet another blerd, make yourself a friend, create a family. Okay. I tell y'all facts. And as always, and here comes Jigglypuff from here. Jiggly Senpai, why are you popping up in here now, girl? Oh my gosh. I love you. I love you, baby. But in the meantime, and in between time, as I tell all of you beautiful, sexy people, please continue to do this for me and do this for him because y'all need to look out on his IG because if he has a show, y'all need to go support him.
Okay. I got one tomorrow, actually.
Oh, see, okay, you need to put that out there, man.
Yeah, anybody knows me, I'm working PPW tomorrow, tag teaming with Rembrandt, taking on Alex Devine from MCW and I believe Trace Parker. They're both really talented gentlemen, but yeah, I got some things to get off my chest, so I'm sorry. It's gonna be sucking to be in the ring with me tomorrow. I'm gonna be in the best mindset. I'm gonna be real.
Oh boy. I wish I could be there if I wasn't running a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament tomorrow.
Yu-Gi-Oh. Okay, cool. So, all right. I know I got a couple of cards in the back somewhere. So after I'm done kicking their ass, maybe I should come down and, get in the tournament. I don't know, man.
Man, if you come down here, whatever you don't have, let me know. I got you covered. Don't even worry about it. I got you covered.
All right. That sounds good.
Everybody, please take care of yourself. Please have a wonderful weekend. Chris, you take care of yourself, my man.
You can say, man.
And be safe in the show. All right. Be safe in the show.
I will do my best.
All right. Y'all take care. We'll see y'all later. All right. Bye.
Bye.